Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the topics you're curious about, gather the sources, and explore them together. And today, wow, we're diving into something truly fascinating, one of history's biggest puzzles. A book. Well, a book nobody can actually read, written in a language nobody understands. We're talking, of course, about the Voynich Manuscript. You've given us a great collection of sources, research papers, articles, historical bits, and we're going to sift through them. Our goal to pull out the key facts, the really surprising details, and just get a handle on this enigma.
Exactly. And our mission isn't just to say, here's the Voynich manuscript. It's really to get into why it's held this grip on people's imaginations for, well, centuries, why it resists every attempt to decode it. It's just this incredible intellectual magnet.
Okay, so let's ground ourselves first. What do we actually physically know about this book?
Well, it's what they call a medieval codex. Basically a handmade book with illustrations. It's got over 200 pages, made of vellum, prepared animal skin.
Right, calfskin mostly. And size-wise, think of a modern paperback, roughly. About 9 inches tall, 6 wide, maybe 2 inches thick. Pretty substantial. But here's a really key piece of evidence. The vellum itself. They've radiocarbon dated it.
Yes, and that's crucial.
It puts its creation squarely between 1404 and 1438, so early 15th century. This thing is genuinely old, not some modern fake.
Absolutely. That dating anchors it firmly in the medieval period.
And the effort involved. Just think about it. They estimate it took at least 14 or 15 entire calfskins to make the pages.
That's a significant undertaking for the time. It wasn't trivial.
The writing itself, the ink iron gall ink, apparently, and the outlines for the drawings seem to be from the same period as the vellum.
Contemporaneous.
But the colors, the paints used to fill in the drawings, things like azurite, red ochre, they seem to have been added a bit crudely. Maybe later?
That's a possibility, yes. The application isn't as refined as the drawing or writing might suggest.
And another interesting point. It doesn't look like the work of just one person. Analysis suggests multiple scribes were involved.
Which points to a coordinated effort, perhaps in a scriptorium or a similar setting. And while we don't know exactly where it was made, the style, particularly of the illustrations, has led many researchers to suspect Italy, maybe northern Italy, during the early Renaissance.
Okay, Italy, early 15th century.
That physical evidence, especially the dating, is so important because it immediately shoots down theories that pop up later, suggesting it was forged more recently. We know the materials are authentically medieval.
Got it. So it's undeniably old. But then it's history. Well, after it was made, it gets really murky, huge gaps. The first person we know for sure owned it was this guy, Georg Beresch, an alchemist in 17th century Prague.
Right, in the 1600s.
And he was completely baffled by it, called it a sphinx that was just, quote, taking up space uselessly in his library. You can almost hear him sighing.
Yes, the frustration seems timeless with this manuscript.
Then there's the story, maybe legendary, maybe true, that the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II bought it for 600 gold ducats, believing it was by Roger Bacon.
A huge sum. Rudolph II was a known collector of curiosities and arcane knowledge, so it fits his profile, even if the Bacon connection is likely wrong. Bacon lived much earlier.
After Beresch died, it went to his friend, Jan Marek Marci. He sent it on to Rome, to a famous Jesuit scholar, Athanasius Kircher, who is known for trying to decipher hieroglyphs and other codes.
And Marci included that famous letter dated 1665 or 66. That letter is one of our best historical anchors. It mentions the Rudolph II story and passes on the mystery to Kircher.
So even back then, in the 17th century, it was seen as this profound puzzle.
Absolutely. It wasn't just Beresch. It was passed along as something significant and deeply mysterious, even if nobody could figure it out. From emperors to scholars, it stumped everyone.
Poof, it vanishes again for centuries.
Into the archives, likely within the Jesuit order in Rome.
Until 1912. Enter Wilfred M. Voynich, a Polish-American rare book dealer. He finds it in a chest, somewhere in southern Europe, maybe a Jesuit college near Rome.
And that's how it gets its modern name, the Voynich Manuscript. His rediscovery really kicked off the intense modern interest.
And finally, since 1969, it's been safe and sound at Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book Library, catalog number MS408.
And importantly for everyone listening, it's fully digitized. You can go online and flip through the pages yourself.
Which is amazing. So, okay, we've traced its journey. Let's get inside the book. What are these illustrations? What did these scribes actually draw and write? Because the drawings are, well, there's something else. Meticulous, yes, but often just baffling. Let's walk through the main sections people usually identify. First up, the biggest section, herbal. Lots of drawings of plants.
But here's the catch. Most of these plants don't match any known species.
Exactly. They look like fantasy plants. Sometimes it seems like they've stuck the roots of one plant onto the leaves of another and the flower of a third. Really weird composites.
It's highly unusual for herbal,
Yeah.
which you'd expect to be representational, for identification.
Then you get the astronomical or astrological section. Circular diagrams. Suns, moons, stars, zodiac signs. Looks familiar, right?
To a point, but then you notice the details.
Yeah, like these little nude female figures,
Yeah.
often around 30 of them, arranged in bands within the zodiac circles, sometimes holding stars, sometimes even looking like they're tethered to them by threads. What is that about?
Nobody knows for sure. It's unique imagery.
Okay, next up, the biological section. This might be the weirdest one.
It's certainly a contender.
It shows small, naked women, often bathing in pools or tubs filled with green or blue liquid, connected by these incredibly elaborate, almost organic-looking pipes and tubes.
It's unlike anything else, really. Some have speculated about alchemy or maybe communal baths, but the structures are just fantastical.
Then there's the cosmological section. More strange circular diagrams, very abstract. And it includes that famous fold-out page.
The Rosette's folio.
Yes. This huge, complex drawing showing 9 interconnected circular things. Rosettes, or maybe islands linked by causeways, with little castles, maybe even a volcano on one. It's incredibly detailed, but utterly obscure.
A map of somewhere unknown, or perhaps something symbolic. Again, total mystery.
Almost there. Then a pharmaceutical section. This shows isolated plant parts roots, leaves next to drawings that look like apothecary jars, like you'd see in an old pharmacy.
Suggesting preparations, maybe recipes linked to the plants shown elsewhere.
Which leads to the final section, often just called recipes. Basically, pages of text broken into short paragraphs, each starting with a little star or flower-like symbol, a bullet point.
Looks like instructions or entries of some kind.
So you look at all this, the weird plants, the bathing ladies, the star charts, the jars. What's the overall feeling? Despite the strangeness, does it feel like anything familiar?
Well, that's the fascinating tension, isn't it? The structured herbal section, astronomical recipes, or faintly echoes things like medieval pharmacopoeias or encyclopedic medical texts.
Yeah.
That was a common genre.
Right, a practical guide.
But the content of the illustrations is just so off. Unidentifiable plants undermine the purpose of a herbal. The biological section has no clear parallel. If it was meant to be practical, like a medical text, why fill it with things nobody could recognize or understand?
It breaks the mold.
Completely.
Well-
It forces you to ask, were there ways of representing knowledge back then just fundamentally different? Or is something else going on entirely? It doesn't slot neatly into any known category of medieval manuscript.
And that is the perfect bridge to the absolute core of the mystery, the text itself, the script. Voyniches, they call it.
Yep, a unique alphabet found nowhere else.
And despite centuries of effort, from brilliant wartime code breakers to modern computational linguists, nobody has definitively cracked it. It remains undeciphered. Probably the most famous uncracked code in the world.
It's incredibly tantalizing. Let's talk about the script's features. It reads left to right, like English.
Okay, that's familiar.
It seems to have maybe 20 to 25 distinct characters or symbols. Some look a bit like Latin letters, some like numbers, others are just unique squiggles.
And punctuation.
Doesn't seem to be any obvious punctuation marks, which is also a bit unusual for text of that length.
What about patterns in the text? Have people found any?
Oh yes, statistical analysis has revealed some very distinct and frankly quite weird patterns. Words tend to be short, rarely more than 10 letters long.
Okay.
Certain characters seem to prefer appearing only at the beginning or end of words. Others mostly stay in the middle. And some words repeat with really high frequency, sometimes 2 or 3 times in a row, which is odd for natural language.
So it sounds unnatural, like maybe it's not a real language.
But here's the twist.
Yeah.
Despite those oddities, other statistical tests, like looking at word frequency distribution, something called Zipf's law, show patterns that are consistent with genuine human languages.
So it acts like a real language in some ways, but breaks the rules in others.
Precisely. It seems to have internal rules. Researchers have even suggested a consistent structure within words, maybe like a prefix-root-suffix system. It looks structured. It feels like it should mean something.
Which just makes it more maddening. This feeling that meaning is right there, but completely locked away. It's no wonder there are so many theories.
Absolutely. Let's unpack the main ones.
Okay, theory 1. It's an encoded language. This seems like the obvious first guess, right? Take a known language, Latin, maybe German, Italian, and scramble it using some kind of cipher.
A very common theory. People have tried substituting letters based on frequency, assuming it's a simple substitution cipher, or more complex ones. It just hasn't worked. Even the best cryptanalysts, like William and Elizabeth Friedman, who broke major codes in WWI and WWII,
Yeah.
studied it extensively and concluded it didn't fit known historical cipher methods.
Why not? What's so different about Voynich's?
Those weird statistical properties we mentioned, the repetitions, the positional character preferences, they just don't match how typical historical ciphers behave. Standard decryption techniques hit a wall. It's like the lock is a shape no key fits.
Okay, so if it's not a simple code, theory two, a lost or constructed language. Maybe it's a real language that just died out, leaving no other trace. Or maybe someone invented a language.
Both possibilities are on the table. An extinct language is hard to prove or disprove without more evidence. An invented or constructed language and artificial language is intriguing.
Could that explain the weird patterns?
Perhaps. An artificial language could have unusual rules or repetitions built in. The problem there is timing. While there were early ideas about universal languages, deliberately constructing complex artificial languages like Esperanto or Klingon, that's largely a much later phenomenon, centuries after the Voynich was made.
So it would have been incredibly ahead of its time if it was a conlang.
Extremely. Possible, maybe, but quite a stretch historically.
Which leads us to theory three. It's all an elaborate hoax. Maybe it's just gibberish, cleverly designed to look like a mysterious, profound text, possibly to fool a wealthy collector like Emperor Rudolph II.
This is a persistent theory. Computer scientist Gordon Rugg, for instance, argued this forcefully. He even showed how you could generate text with some similar statistical properties, using simple tools like grids and tables, or a device called a Cardan grill, though that grill was invented later, in the 1550s.
So the idea is someone faked it to make money or gain prestige.
That's the core idea. But the hoax theory isn't simple either. Remember, we know the vellum is 15th century, so it wasn't Wilfred Voynich himself faking it in the 20th century. If it's a hoax, it's a medieval hoax.
Right.
And here's where it gets tricky for the hoax theory. Some researchers, like Marcelo Montemurro, have done complex network analysis on the text. They found patterns suggesting connections between words, topic shifts, things that seem to indicate underlying meaning, semantic structure.
Meaning it would be really hard to fake that kind of depth.
Exactly. Especially in the 15th century, without modern computers or linguistic theory. Could a hoaxer back then really create meaningless text that also has these subtle language-like semantic networks? It seems unlikely to some.
And didn't Yale researchers recently find links between text clusters and the illustrations?
They did. Using computational methods, they found that sections of text appearing near, say, plant drawings seem statistically distinct from text near astronomical drawings. That strongly suggests the text relates to the pictures, implying meaningful content.
Okay, that sounds like a point against the hoax theory.
It does. However, the debate isn't settled. Other researchers, like Daniel Gaskell and Claire Bowern, have countered that even randomly generated text, or text produced by humans asked to create meaningless strings, can sometimes exhibit surprising statistical patterns that mimic language.
So maybe those patterns aren't definitive proof of meaning after all.
It's still an open question. The Voynich seems to sit right on that knife edge between sophisticated meaning and incredibly sophisticated gibberish.
Wow. It really is a slippery thing. And this just explains why there have been so many claims of decipherment over the years, right? People think they've found the key.
Oh, constantly. From William Romain Newbold in the 1920s, claiming he found microscopic Greek shorthand hidden in the letters.
Which was debunked.
Thoroughly debunked. To more recent claims involving everything from abbreviated Latin, like Nicholas Gibbs proposed, to a supposed proto-Romance language suggested by Gerard Cheshire.
And the verdict on those?
None have achieved any kind of broad acceptance in the academic community. Most rely on subjective interpretations, flawed methodologies, or produce translations that don't really make consistent sense. They get announced with fanfare, but then fall apart under scrutiny.
It's like the manuscript itself resists being understood, a testament to how hard this puzzle really is.
It truly is.
So let's pull this together. We've journeyed through the Voynich manuscript's known history, peered at its bizarre and beautiful illustrations, and wrestled with the main theories trying to unlock its silent script.
And the conclusion is, well, there isn't one, really. It sits there at Yale, this physical object from the early 15th century, defying computation, linguistics, cryptography, everything we throw at it. It's a stark reminder of the limits of our knowledge.
We know when it was made, what it's made of. We've traced its path through time. We can look at every strange drawing online. But the fundamental questions, what does it say? Why was it created? They remain completely unanswered.
A true sphinx without a riddle, as they say.
So for you, the curious learner tuning in today, maybe the takeaway is this. In our world, where we feel like almost anything can be looked up, decoded, understood with the right tools, what does the persistence of the Voynich mystery tell us? What does it say about knowledge itself, about secrets, maybe about the human desire to find meaning even where there might be none?
Or perhaps where the meaning is just beyond our current reach.
Something to definitely mull over. We hope this deep dive has shed some light on this incredible enigma. Join us next time for another exploration.